Welcome back. Today we're going to tie Rene Harrop CDC Caddis emerger. This is a great pattern, just like the X-Caddis, has a little less buoyancy, obviously minus the deer hair. So it's going to get down a little bit further in the surface film than what that one will. It's a great representation, also a great pattern to fish in tandem with a standard caddis dry or hopper dropper type thing. It's not technically a hopper dropper, but same concept. So as before, we're going to put a trailing shuck on this one, and I'll grab a little bit of that there, grab my thread wherever I put it. There we are. I'm losing it all out of sorts here. So I'm just going to get a good thread base down here, nothing too crazy, just one row, one right after another. Set that in, and then work this to the front just slightly. Grab this Z-long, and then get about what I feel I need for this. Cut that one off blunt. And then just set this in right up to the front there. And then get a nice transition all the way to the back. And I'm just going to take my scissors, push right through there, and cut that off to where I have a little bit. It's just a nice uneven trailing shuck right there. Alright, now I'm going to take some olive dubbing. Yeah, it's got some junk in it. Take a little bit of olive dubbing and a nice thin body on this. You see so many flies out there with just gobs and gobs of dubbing on them. They look like a damn football going down the river. It's just obscene. Take your time, make a nice thin loop on this, and don't overdub it. That's probably one of the things that I see more often than anything is folks, when they're using their dubbing, they overdub it, and it just winds up being a water trap, really. It throws off the profile of the fly and everything. It just doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. So I have a little bit of excess there. I'm going to take that out. A little bit of excess. I got a little bit too long on that, so no biggie. We'll just take that out and we'll get ready to put our CDC in. So this front third, don't worry about it too much because you're going to add a little bit of dubbing to cover up where your CDC is going in. I'm going to take, this is a size 16. If I can get away with it, I'm going to do one plume, but this is like this is not the best bag of CDC that I have, but it's the best one that I can find. So I think I'm going to go 2 plumes on this. Yeah, I'm going to go with 2. I used to tie with CDC a ton. I used to use this stuff for damn near every dry fly, and shoot, I'd use it on midges and nymphs, you name it. I love this stuff. Got away from it for a little bit, got more into the short fine stuff, more so the hair wings, but I still like CDC a lot. On a couple of my patterns, Caddis especially, man, that's garbage. I'll go with a CDC underwing under my hair. I just really like the way that it looks and the way that it acts. So, with that being said, we're going to get our CDC tied in here. That first one is just going to be essentially a base to prop up my second one. The first one, if it's a little bit on the flat side, not a big deal. This next one, I want to try and find something that really has a lot of fibers in it, and I want to stay away from this right here to where everything kind of clumps up at the very front. I want to stay away from that if possible. I don't know if that was in the camera, but you can see where that stem is really distinct all the way through there. I want to stay away from that and get more so into something like what I don't have in my hands here. I want something with a thinner stem and just more vibrant fibers at the very top of it. Let me see if I can find something here. This looks pretty good right there. That looks pretty good. So now if I can, I just want to set this in here. And I want it going back into my shuck a little bit. Some of the ones that you see, this stuff's so thin, it's not like it's a deer hair, a hair wing or whatever it is. This CDC is so thin, it's gonna mesh into that tail a little bit. So if you go a little bit on the long side, I actually prefer it. So I want it going into my shuck slightly. I think it gives a better representation than if it's too short and then you wind up having a mix between, or a transition almost between your shuck and your wings. I like it to where they kind of all just mesh into one. It just looks better to me, especially once the fly's wet, because really, I mean, when they're emerging, it's just they're getting rid of that shuck. There's no clean breaks or anything. So if you want to mesh those wings into the shuck, and I think it performs better than if the wings are too short. I'm just gonna clean that eye up a little bit. Now for this, you can go back to the dubbing if you want. It's a little bit heavy. It's not bad. You can go back to the dubbing if you want. What I'm going to do on this one, I'm just going to get 2 peacock strands here, and I'm going to tie them in from the tips. Get about 3 to 4 turns in there, and then I'll whip finish this one, and we'll be done. If you want to, like I said, you can go with the same olive dubbing, or you can go with a darker color. You can do like a little 2-tone effect. I'm just going to get, like I said, 3 to 4 wraps with that peacock in there. Spin this around. Trim that off. And then we'll whip finish. There it is, another simple yet very effective pattern. The CDC Caddis emerger, a little bit on the heavy side there with that CDC. I could probably go through and take it. I could trim that up a little bit, but I'm going to keep it as is. There you have on the underneath side, you got that nice transition from your olive to your peacock. And then like I said before, that CDC is going to mesh in with that trailing shuck, and it's going to give a good appearance of what you're after for imitating these emergers. It's starting to warm up here, so I'm going to have to cut this one short. It is just insanely hot here. Anyhow, that is Rene Harrop, CDC Caddis emerger. If you guys have questions or comments, leave them with me and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next fly.